Hi, I'm State Senator Tracy McCreery. Thank you for tuning in to my weekly update. The Missouri legislature has officially hit the halfway mark, and we are headed into a legislative spring break. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into some things that have happened in the previous 10 weeks, but also let you know about some things to look out for when we return in late March. On the Senate floor, I've been able to add or move 3 of my bills forward by adding them on as amendments. One of them was the Missouri Residential Sale Leaseback Protection Act. That was added in Senate Bill 973, and it is a bill dealing with real estate disclosures. I just want to make sure that homeowners know what they're getting into if they decide to move forward with a sale leaseback program. Ultimately, I just want people to be able to make informed decisions and stay in their homes if that's what they desire. My Senate Bill 1405 was amended onto Senate Bill 1233. That deals with professional licensing of speech-language pathologists. Right now, Missouri law says that speech-language pathologists can only practice in the state of Missouri if they've completed their clinical fellowship under somebody who is licensed in Missouri. I think that there are other fine speech-language pathology fellowships around the country, and if Missouri wants to fill these gaps and these openings for these professionals, we need to be open to letting people get trained in other states. I also was able to attach my Senate Bill 1640 to Senate Bill 878 on Wednesday evening. This legislation would allow the Missouri Board of Pharmacy the authority to waive compliance with Missouri regulations when Missouri is in a state of an emergency or a state of disaster. It's about letting nonprofit pharmacies be able to dispense, ship, or deliver prescriptions so that folks can continue to have life-saving medications even when Missouri is in some temporary trouble. Another bill of mine has to do with licensed interior designers. Senate Bill 991 passed out of professional registration and emerging issues this week. That bill would allow licensed interior designers to work independently within their scope of training, and I think it would help ultimately bring more equity to the work that they're doing every day in our state. Lastly, Senate Bill 899, which would establish a cross-reporting system designed to improve coordination between investigators who are responding to abuse involving animals, children, seniors, or other vulnerable populations, was heard in the Family, Seniors, and Health Committee. I'm hopeful it will be voted out of committee when the legislature returns from the midway break. So far here in the state, the General Assembly has sent just 2 bills to the governor. The first was the supplemental budget. That is a bill that helps the state cover its expenses between when the bill passed and the end of the fiscal year. That went to the governor. I spent some time talking to the Senate Appropriations Chair about my concerns of all these departments that operate around the state of Missouri are all asking for additional money so that they can pay their utility bills. And I'm concerned about your utility bills as well. And a government department can come to the state and ask for money so that they can pay their bills. I'm looking out for you because I want to make sure that when you're experiencing higher utility bills, that they're within reach and that they're realistic. Will continue to be opposed to increasing your costs, your everyday costs. Another bill that is on its way to the governor enjoyed strong bipartisan support. House Bill 1908 allows pregnant women in the state of Missouri to get a divorce without legal hurdles. Before this bill, well, it's still not been signed by the governor, but currently right now in Missouri law, a judge could delay or block a divorce even if the pregnant woman was in an unsafe situation. So House Bill 1908 would, in my opinion, catch up with the times and allow pregnant women to protect themselves and their babies. Very proud of that work, and it feels really good to work on something nonpartisan. So as we switch into the second half of legislative session, the big thing that the state Senate will be digging into is the state budget, and it's going to be very, very complicated this year. Missouri's dealing with a fiscal shortfall, which means members of the House and the Senate are going to have to make really tough decisions about how we balance our state's budget. I remain concerned that we are making some cuts to programs that help those with developmental disabilities, and Also am hearing that there are some pretty severe cuts to childcare. So those are two issues I'm going to be keeping an eye out for, because we have to do everything we can to do best by Missouri's children and by Missourians with developmental disabilities. Another bill to keep an eye on once we return from spring break is House Joint Resolution 173. This is a proposed constitutional amendment that would let lawmakers or politicians raise state sales taxes or other forms of taxes in an effort to eliminate the income tax. I'm concerned about eliminating the income tax and replacing it with a sales tax or a service tax, because I think the vast majority of Missourians would end up paying more. So I'm going to continue to keep a close eye on that. I'm uncomfortable with politicians being able to raise your taxes without any reasoning. I also want to say thanks to all of my constituents that came to the state capitol. I think this was a record this week. I saw dozens and dozens and dozens of my neighbors from Senate District 24 make the trek to their state capitol. So I just want to say I love seeing all of you. I love sitting down with you in my office. I really appreciate your input. I know a trip to Jefferson City is not possible for everybody, so feel free to call, email, write a note, whatever you need to do to make your opinions heard. I have an amazing staff, Hannah and Emily. We are here. We want to hear your opinions. And of course, if you ever need help navigating state government, we're here to help as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to this longer than normal update, and I will check back in when we return from halfway break. Thanks so much.